The house was older than it, with a history as murky as the creek that ran behind it. The locals whispered about strange occurrences, unexplained noises, and shadows that moved on their own. I had just started working in a strange city and was in dire need of a place to stay. So when the opportunity came to rent the battered Victorian house on Willow Creek, I dismissed the tales about it as folklore and being the arrogant teenager eager to prove the skeptics right, I jumped and rent the place. It came with another benefit that it was cheaper. After moving, the first night was uneventful, but as days turned into weeks, a creepy unease settled over me. Certain things started happening. Doors creaked open by themselves. Cold spots appeared in walls, and the faintest whisper of a name echoed through the hall. I told myself it was the wind, the old house setting, or perhaps my mind playing tricks. Then came the nights. Sleep became a distant memory. Shadows danced on the walls, taking grotesque shapes. Chilling breath seemed to brush against my face in the dead of night. And there were the sounds scratching at the attic door, the soft padding of footsteps upstairs, and a mournful wail that seemed to originate from the basement. One night, I decided to confront my fears. Armed with a flashlight, I descended into the basement. The air was thick and heavy. The only sound was the dripping of water as my eyes adjusted to the dim light. I saw it, a red stain spreading across the concrete floor. It was fresh, almost wet. A cold dread washed over me as I realized it was blood. A shadow moved in the corner. It grew larger, darker, and then two glowing eyes appeared. A low growl echoed through the basement, and a chilling wind swept through the room, extinguishing my flashlight. In that moment, I knew. I knew the house was not simply haunted. Something evil, something really bad, lived within its walls. A scream tore from my lips as the shadow lunged towards me, and then there were darkness. When I woke up, the day had set, and the warm sunlight was coming in the basement from the shattered windows. But my body ached all over as it had been put through a ringer. The memory of the creature attack was a jagged wound in my mind, refusing to heal. I could still feel its sword to breath on my skin. Its razor-sharp claws raking across my flesh. But when I looked in the mirror, there were no physical injuries to be seen. No cuts, no bruises, no scars. The doctors were baffled, scratching their head in disbelief. They poked and prodded me, ran test after test, but found nothing out of ordinary. They chalked it up to stress and exhaustion, told me that I was just overworked and overtired. But I knew the truth. I knew what had happened. I knew I had I had never been the same again. The creature was still there, waiting to come again in the darkness, waiting to take me or anyone that comes in its path. I spent the next few days with a colleague of mine, but as the days passed, the fear kept lurking back towards me. I had started spending my nights outside that house because I was afraid. I used to go anywhere from work to cheap clubs over friends' houses, but after a while, everything stopped working. At the end of the day, I had to return home. I had to face that fear, but instead of facing that creature of evil, I was determined to rid myself of the house and its evil. I began the arduous process of finding another place and leaving the house. A real estate agent, a skeptic with a glint of fear in her eyes, warned me of the rumors surrounding the property. But I was adamant I had to escape. I finally found an apartment and left the house the same day, in hopes that the nightmare might end. But the nightmare didn't end. It moved, but the shadows. I moved, but the shadows followed. They lurked in the corner of my new apartment, whispering names I didn't recognize. False post appears. The eerie whispered echoed. It was as if I had brought a piece of the house with me. Then I started seeing a woman, pale and ethereal, with eyes that had a haunting sorrow. She appeared in fleeting glimpses, a whisper in the wind, a shadow in the moonlight. Some Sometimes I would wake up with her name on my lips, Amelia. Amelia. It was that moment. I knew I had to delve into the house's history. Amelia, it turned out, was the original owner. A tragic love story, a broken heart, and a mysterious disappearance. The locals whispered of a curse, a vengeful spirit trapped within the house. And now it seemed she had found me. Desperate, I sought help from a paranormal investigator, a grizzled old man with a knowing look. He confirmed my worst fear. The house on Willow Creek was a portal, a gateway to something dark and ancient. And Amelia was caught in his grip, a tormented soul, unable to find peace. Then one day, she came to me. She came to me in the light of the day. She told me the story of her disappearance, the story of the beginning of evil. She told me that she and her boyfriend used to live in that house. The house was in Amelia's family for ages, and the stories had passed down on a specific night. Every few years, a portal opens up in the basement, and evil comes into our world, determined to get possession of someone who can hold him in this world. We were advised not to go into the basement after 12 at night. My boyfriend did not believe me and called it just folklore to just frighten the children and decided to make the basement his office. And he used to work late there at night, sometimes after 12. One day, the evil came and just silently took over my boyfriend. After that, I started noticing changes in my boyfriend. He started lying, spending more time in the basement working on something. He started going into the basement after 12, and when I fall asleep. And he used to come back up after the sun rose. One day, I decided to go check on him, and when I went into the basement, I saw him. I saw him performing some ritual, but I had to stop the ritual. That resulted in failing the ritual. Then the creature appeared in front of me. He was furious. In his fury, he told me that he was just lingering in this world, using my boyfriend, but the ritual was going to give him a strong grip and physical presence in this world, which I had destroyed. He killed my boyfriend right there in front of me. He swore he would not let me get free and go outside the house. I was unable to go out. He created some illusion that the house was empty and trapped me inside the basement of my own home. I was not able to call for help and died with exhaustion and constant torture that was bestowed upon me. The ritual was his only hope in 1,000 years to get a hold over this world and unleash his wrath, which failed, and he can go back to his realm. She told me no one had survived a single night in that house in the last 80 years. I was the only one who had spent 6 weeks helping her notice that the creature is getting me. He is not from this world, and the source of his power is in the shadow realm, which he cannot access for the next 50 years or so. She said if I could try, I can defeat the evil. No one has escaped his attack ever, not even her, and free her and the house. Then I woke up, and it turned out I was dreaming, or it was Amelia's only chance to ask for help. I made a decision. I would return to the house, face the creature, and free Amelia. It was a dangerous gamble, but it was the only hope. Armed with sage, holy water, and a desperate courage, I stepped back into the house. On the day Amelia had told me to come in my dream. The darkness was palpable. I felt the evil more potent than ever. But I was ready. With each step, I felt a growing certain a connection to something pure, something good. I go into the basement and perform the ritual that Amelia had learned from other spirits under his hold and told him. When I started performing the ritual, I heard a lot of noises. The doors were opening themselves. I hear voices of my mother, father, siblings crying for help, asking me to stop the ritual. I stayed determined and get the ritual completed. And then I saw the true face of the creature. And then, in a blink of an eye, he caught fire and then disappeared. I looked around in the basement for Amelia, but she wasn't there. After looking for her for an hour or so, I decided to go back to my apartment. Then I saw her. I saw Amelia standing in the heart of the house, her translucent form. She looked at me with a mixture of gratitude and hope. I extended my hand, opening her a way out. As our fingers touched, a blinding light filled the room. The house shook. The night retreated. With my vision clear, the house was empty, filled with a sense of peace. Amelia was gone, so was the evil. I left the house that night, a changed man. The scars remained, both physical and emotional, but I had faced my fears and emerged victorious. The house on Willow Creek was no longer a place of terror, but a chapter in my life, a testament to the enduring power of hope over darkness. After, after 50 years, a young boy was sitting in the basement of Willow Creek, playing video games. Then he heard a thunder, following a childlike voice, his own sister's voice, asking him to come in. Without thinking, he said yes. And then the cycle of the evil had started again.